Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, so always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance because you tuned in consciously and conscientiously to Eye on Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. And we got a great, wonderful, upbeat guest today. He is so much fun. I just enjoy visiting with so much because so many eclectic people on the show. And the reason we call this Eye in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas, of course, is known throughout the world. One of the world's greatest destinations. Just to give you a sense of something, the entire state of California, population-wise, if you add in the entire population of Oregon and you add in the entire population of Washington State, it's about 40 million. Well, there are 40.8 million people that come through Las Vegas every year. So more people come to Las Vegas than inhabit the state of California, Oregon, and Washington. It's one of the most traveled to places in the world, and it's because it has high energy. It has high energy people, and you're about to meet one of them. His name is Steve Lewis. We're going to welcome wonderful Steve Lewis. Please, Steve, say hello to 388,000 people around the world.
Hello, Barry, and 388,000 people around the world. So nice to meet you.
So those of you who are only listening, you hear a great voice. Those of you who are able to watch also, you're seeing one of the great smiling people of the world. I don't mean Barry Shore. Yes, it's Steve Lewis. So Steve and I, in addition to a number of other things, intersected just a while ago. And we met through a really wonderful story. I won't tell you about it right now. Suffice it to say, it's what we call serendipity. And serendipity is a shortcut to joy. And we've just been having so much fun together. And I mentioned a couple of things. And he said, well, let me tell you a story. Because that's what this is all about, right? People and stories. Las Vegas is filled with high energy, interesting people. Why people come here is a story unto themselves. So let's just start right away. Steve, how the heck did you end up in Las Vegas, or more importantly, where we live, Henderson, Nevada?
Yes, 18 years ago, I moved to Henderson, Nevada. Pretty much the last place I ever thought I would live, to be honest with you. I came here for computer conventions and to talk, but I'd be in and out. I never really gambled, and I thought that the Strip was the whole Las Vegas. And then 18 years ago, I met my wife on internet dating, and she lived in Henderson, and I wound up moving here. I thought, wow, I'm moving to Las Vegas, and it's been the most incredible experience, not only being married to my amazing wife, Stacy, but to live in this town. And in the 18 years I've been here, it's grown incredibly. We have sports teams. The businesses are not just gambling anymore. There's tech business everywhere. The place is booming. It is the place to live now. It really is incredible.
So that's one of the things I wanted to bring out. And Steve, you're the epitome of it, because we're going to talk a little bit about your background and the such in computer world and the high tech world. And just like you said, when I first came visiting here years ago, also for diamond conventions and such like that, and then looking around and had a friend who moved here, I said, why would anybody want to live here? And then now, of course, I live here. And
Right.
Not only live here, we thrive here. As you said, it is a place of high energy, great people, great minds, and the gambling aspect of the city is beside the point. This is a place where things happen because there are people here that are happening people. I want to just jump right in and talk about some of your background, because you were deeply involved in the early part of the high-tech businesses. You were running a great company called Goldmine, which, for people who know anything about contact information businesses, that was the epitome of CRM. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about CRM and the fact that you live just down the street from me. We both lived in Southern California. We may have even passed each other waving in a car on the freeway or in the PCH one time because you lived in Marina del Rey. I lived in Venice. And let's just tell people a little bit about your background and how you came to be involved with Goldmine.
Right. Well, I started off at IBM out of school in upstate New York. And since it was so freezing cold up there, IBM was great, but I came and visited my cousins in Malibu, California, and I saw the surf and I saw the girls and I saw the lifestyle. I said, I'm here. And that was in my 20s. And I upped and moved. And said, people said, nobody leaves IBM. I go, watch me. And I left IBM after 3 years there. And I got involved in smaller computers, and then eventually Goldmine is the idea of contact management, which is today's Salesforce. People know Salesforce, but before there was Salesforce, there was ACT and there was Goldmine. And it's just, the principles of CRM are the same: customer relationship management. You mark down what you want to do and what you have done, and then what you want to do again. And it's all in the computer, and the management can see it, but it also organizes yourself. And I know I've joked with you before that we're both not that organized, but these softwares help you become organized, even myself. And
even people who are not prone to be organized, we get organized with these kinds of software. And Goldmine, and
Yes.
like you said, ACT, they didn't just rule the world at the time. They were really great for productivity. People were resisting it because, gee, I have to get organized. We didn't have to. It just did it for you. It was wonderful. And we were talking today, and I'd like you to tell people about, the world of computing is fascinating, and you've been in it since you were about 12 years old.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
So let's talk about that, because I asked you today, we were talking about this mystical number 1010. And I showed Stephen the secret of 1010 on watches. He might want to talk about it, but just tell us what you know about ones and zeros.
Yeah, ones and zeros. Even as advanced as today, computers are still ones and zeros. Something's on or something's off, and then carry the one to another place. And then there's programming on top of, but it's all on top of ones and zeros, even since the beginning days. So when I was 12, and I was one of the few people who was interested in computers, there wasn't even computer science majors, nothing. But when I was 12 and in junior high school, I told Barry, for a science fair project, I invented a little computer with marbles. And when the marble came down, it flipped the switch. There were just lights and there were zeros. And then if it flipped it, it would go to one. And then if you put the marble down that one again, it would carry over to the next column, turn on the light of the next column, and turn that one to zero. And the idea of the science fair project was to teach people the principles of the ones and zeros. So things are on or they're off. And that's the basis of all of computers, even in today's cyberspace and the internet and everything. And like I've told Barry,
I want to unpack something for everybody out here. So again, we have people listening all over the world. Most of the 85% of everybody listening is under 35. So they really don't have the sense of what we're talking about.
Right.
Because you've been doing this since you were 12, which is more than 54 years ago.
Right.
And so we say that was the beginning of what we call the digital age, because in digital functionality, things are either off or on. Am I correct when I say that? Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Prior to that, and even during that time as the digital world was progressing, it was the analog world. And to give people an idea of what analog means, because it's hard to understand for people who don't know anything but other than digital, in the days of an analog, let's say like a television set or a radio, you had things in the back of the television called tubes. I remember because I grew up with them. And if the television went off, you could open the back of the television and you could test the different tubes, pull out the tube that wasn't working, go to a store, get a replacement for that tube, put it in the back of the television, put it back in, and guess what would happen? It would work because it's all analog. It wasn't digital. In the world of digital, things either work or they don't. So in a digital world today of a TV, if it doesn't work, you're not fixing it. It's over. It's toast. However, what digital does bring to us is what we call FBC, faster, better, cheaper. And that's basically what you did in your early days of computing with ones and zeros. Am I right on that?
Yes. I was you went into what burning EEPROMs, which is still the same basis. You would do the programming, and then they'd be the first things that are in these computers. And but it all starts with the ones and the zeros. And programming languages are ones and zeros. After they get compiled down, it's all ones and zeros. So it really all gets brought down to that. But most people don't have to see that part, but it's the first layer of everything. Yeah.
Fascinating. Now, one of the things I wanted to also touch with Steve, because he's to me, he's like the Pillsbury Doughboy. You can tickle him, and he's so full of goodness and such. It's wonderful. He is really a whiz when it comes to what we call today gamification. He loves the idea, not just the idea, the implementation of making things fun, because he understands that one of the most important aspects of the human condition is play. And the best way to learn something is by playing. It's not just reading a book or a manual. And that's, I think, why YouTube videos are so popular, both for instruction, e-learning, and just for giving people information, because it touches the play aspect. So we got a few more minutes before we go to a quick commercial break. But tell us about your love of gamification.
Yeah, I have my love of gamification, and I am in Las Vegas, but it really doesn't have to do with that kind of gamification. but it's the same principles that catch people and addicted people, but in a good way, because it gets people to do e-learning in a fun way. And if you do e-learning and the quizzes, you answer a question, you spin the wheel, you get points, you go to a leaderboard, you get prizes. People and children, which is like my passion, teaching children, become motivated, and they'll come back and play again and again, as opposed to the quiz just answering the question. So that's why I really like gamification. You give badges, you give rewards, and that's what makes and then people actually do the lessons because they want to compete and be on that leaderboard. They want to be number one on the leaderboard. So
this idea, like you just said, I love that. And people actually do the learning. In other words, the process of gamification in life is to enable people to do what they really want to do, and in quotation marks, should do. However, you want to do it in such a way where you're playing. So let's be blunt. A lot of people watch or enjoy watching a football game. A lot more people enjoy watching a football game if there's something in it for them, whether it's a small wager or even a friendly kind of gamification. Am I correct on that? Isn't that what makes things, what drives engagement?
Yeah, it's human nature, and engagement is the key word you said. How do you make people actually do the e-learning? Many people can create the e-learning, and the most unbelievable secret about e-learning that people don't know is that people don't do it. They think they just don't do it. They start it. Even when they buy it for a lot of money, they start it and then they stop. So how can you keep them doing the lessons and everything? You could give them rewards. You can create engagement, which is what you said. Engagement is the key word. They go, oh my God, the professor's actually talking to me through this thing too, and he's engaging with me. It's not just me and this thing talking that's not a human. So people need engagement, or else they just give up and they stop. Yeah,
so this is, I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm involved with e-learning. We have a course called the Joy of Living, how to learn how to live in joy daily, no matter the situation.
Right.
And I was thinking about when we were talking about e-learning. So I actually, in my mind, always thought of it as engagement learning. In other words, we know e-learning means, fine, it's E in the sense of electronic. Really, for me, it's what I call engagement learning, because until somebody is engaged in the process, meaning they want to do something, not that they have to. Yes. When you want to do something, you're involved. That's called play.
Yes.
And when you get people to play, spin the wheel, win the points, do this again and again, guess what happens? Wow, I'm actually learning too. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They're learning despite themselves, Barry. They're learning
despite the D word, despite themselves.
Right.
So, by the way, it's despite yourself. We have sponsors that love us. That's how we keep the show going. We wouldn't have them on if we didn't think they're worth your time a while. So we're going to just do a brief break. It's less than a minute. We'll be right back with Steve Lewis. We have more engagement for you because you're just going to love it. Don't go away. Be right back.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card, and get extra cashback rewards, And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe a good-looking show is looking for and finding the good. You've tuned into Eye on Las Vegas, and you've done this consciously and conscientiously because you know in this show we talk about things that make you happier and healthier and wealthier. And we're speaking with Steve Lewis, one of the early pioneers of the world of high tech and computing and contact information and the beautiful things about gamification. And now we're talking about creating memories that last a lifetime. And it's the story of Cy Lewis, his father, the king of bronze baby shoes. This is so much fun. Every time I hear it, I really find myself just smiling because everybody wins in this story. So Steve, let's just jump right in and talk about what the heck are bronze baby shoes and why would anybody want them?
Yeah, my father was the pioneer of marketing and selling bronze baby shoes. And I just wanted to say now everybody could see my shirt, or Spread Love, which is what Barry's all about and what's made me gravitate towards him and how we joy of living and spread love and all these principles. So my father, in a way, was spreading love with these bronze baby shoes because what you're selling is the baby's first shoes. The mothers and the fathers see their baby walking. They think their baby's the cutest on the planet, which of course it is. And then they want to preserve that feeling. So to preserve that feeling, the bronze baby shoes is you send them away and they're bronzed, and they actually, just like you know what bronze is, it's a bronze version of the baby shoes with maybe a picture of the baby, and the mothers love that. And so you're selling sentiment, you're selling love. Okay, so and as I've pointed out to Barry before, my father named the company Sentimental Company for sentimental. So he was selling sentiment, and the way he sold this, and because a lot of people sold it, but my father figured out how to market and sell it, and the way he did it is he associated his company with these mom and pop Buster Browns and Stride White shoe stores. Back in the day, some of these shoe stores they were owned by mom and pops, and they loved to make extra money. So for every time, so we put the samples in the store, me and my dad, and every time a customer would say, oh, I want that, or I'm interested in that, if they filled out a card, a physical card with a physical pen, and that's a lead, just like a lead is a lead on the internet, but this is still a lead, but it's called a warm lead because it's associated with the store. So now, Phil, these people are interested already. And now I go around, I give the storekeeper $1 for each card, sometimes $20 every month and stuff, which was a good pop, a nice extra thing every day to put in their pocket. And then we would call these leads. And now these leads would say, hello, this is Steve Lewis, calling from the Bronze Baby Shoe Company, from the Buster Brown Shoe Store. So they know the Buster Brown Shoe Store. So that creates trust. So the reason this story is interesting, or should be interesting to people who are out there that are marketing today, is still associating a warm lead with somebody who you trust already. So that's why this works so well. So my father would send in like 50, 80, 100 shoes a month, and all these other people around the country are sending in 3. And the company in Ohio would go, what are you doing, Cy Lewis? Why do you send in so many? And that's because he figured out this ingenious marketing system to associate himself with a established property like the shoe store that's there. And it's the same thing with today. if you're marketing anything, your e-learning course, or whatever you're trying to sell, if you're on Amazon, they know it's Amazon and they'll buy it because it's through Amazon. If they have to trust the source, or else it's like, who's you and why should I put my credit card in and why should I give you money? So that's why I think this story's pertinent. Besides the fact that I love my dad to pieces, he was an amazing person and he was good. And one thing I told Barry that he caught that's so beautiful, my father believed in win-win-wins, truly win-win-wins, not like a win and you lose, win. Everyone won. The mother and her father got a beautiful product that they cherished. The salesperson, who was usually a teacher working on the weekend, was able to go in there, and because it was a warm lead, it was an easy thing to sell because it was practically sold already. They made extra money on the weekend, and then my father made an override on the whole thing. And then because this worked, he went to Massachusetts, where Barry grew up, and that's why Barry saw the bronze baby shoes, and we laughed about that. And he put franchises in Florida and California, all over the country, and he made it into a very good franchise business. And he made a good living, good enough to buy a house and send me and my sister to college, and just he had street smarts. It was like a different kind of smarts back in the day.
I want to put you on pause for a minute, unpack two things that you mentioned that are so fundamental to the world, not just to the world of sales or business, to the world. And these two words are, one is trust, and the second is a system.
Right.
My podcast and things that I do when I do my webinars and such, and I've been, thank God, blessed to have learned from great people over the decades, more than half a century now, is that something we call the process of getting to know somebody, getting to like somebody, getting to trust somebody. It's a process, not an event. You don't walk into a room and shake somebody's hand and say, well, now that you know me, you must trust me, and therefore we're going to do something. It takes time. And the time is it's a good thing. Time is a wonderful thing. The most important part is what your father was able to do. And this is without a formal education of any kind, whether it's high school, college. Matter of fact, those kinds of things ruin stuff that we're talking about now. And that's a system. When you can figure out a system that is designed to benefit everyone, which is what Cy Lewis did. Cy Lewis created something. He saw opportunity, and he says, how is it that the store can win? Well, the store can win because we're going to bring extra traffic, give them extra money with leads and such like that. So it creates an ongoing process for them, revenue generating. How can the people who are selling this on, let's say, on the weekends, teachers and other people, how can they win? Well, they're going to get extra money, which they want and need, in a very non-threatening way, because people don't necessarily want to go sell, but they don't mind talking to people who already said, I want to talk to you. Exactly. And the third thing is creating a system that everybody wins, so that the company in Ohio, which basically is a metal company, they were shipping these shoes in bronze and putting them out and sending them out. Okay, well, how do they win? Now they're, instead of getting 3 or 4 orders from 100, 200 people, they're now going to get 1,000 orders or 2,000 orders from one major company. So everybody in the process wins. That's the genius of a system when it's built on integrity. These are the words that make business work. From the beginning of time. We call it capitalism today. Yes. However, it's really built on the Cy Lewis marketing book, which is create a system where everybody wins and make sure that happens. And how do you do that? You get a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 17-year-old called Steve Lewis, my son, and he makes a phone call. And he does it in English and Spanish also. Yeah. So just tell us what it was like to pick up the phone, Steve, as a kid, and call people, and you're calling people you don't know, but they filled in a card. What was it like?
Right. Well, first of all, also everything was replicatable, which is very important. That's why it was replicatable.
That system.
Well, it was a system that was replicatable, and that's why it was made the money and made other people money too. But me, I was 14 years old, and I was just learning Spanish, and a lot of the customers were Spanish. So it wasn't that hard to call them because they were expecting the call. They filled out the card, they filled out their number. That's a warm lead. It's not like cold calling. People hate cold calling. This is warm, cold calling. So they say, hello, this is Steve Lewis. from the Bronze Baby Shoe Company, from the Buster Brown. And they go, oh, yeah, from the Buster Brown. Okay, there you got it. You're in already. We have a man in the area who's the teacher. In your area, he could be there between 1 and 3 o'clock. He'd like to come by and show you the different ways you could have your shoes bronzed or porcelainized. So it was an easy sell because, like Barry said, the teacher, who isn't Joe salesperson, just that guy, but the people are expecting him. He comes in, he shows them the brochure of the different ways. And here's with a picture, here's without a picture, here's cheaper, here's more, and and can upsell them. And then they would leave with the physical shoes in their hand, and also with like a $20 bill deposit, which usually the salesperson got to keep. So there's the win already. And then we collected the rest. So it was a beautiful business. It was work. There's nothing that goes without work. But my father was amazing to think of all that. And that's why
I love two things that you just said here. And I those of you who are able to watch this, you're getting an extra treat. If you're only listening, it's all still, you can hear it. Steve Lewis radiates. He's smiling. When he's thinking and talking about that business, he's smiling because he's thinking about his father.
Yeah.
Thinking about the integrity. He's thinking about the R word, the replicatable aspect of this. It didn't matter if it was Massachusetts, it was Florida, California, Oklahoma, Alabama. It doesn't matter. What matters most is that it's sentimental, and that you delivered a product that everybody wanted. I mean, I can see it because it happened for me.
Right.
My auntie did it. My mother didn't do it. I forget the reason why. I mean, she did it later. She didn't do it. My auntie did it before because she had big kids before my mother did. I remember seeing those baby shoes on the fireplace, on the mantle of the fireplace, saying, wow, who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
It is because it lasts forever.
Yes.
Isn't that something wonderful? You see, in today's world, we're very, things are, how should we say it, ephemeral, right? It's very hard to hold on to something tangible. So your dad not only discovered something that was of benefit to making good money,
Yes.
it was that everybody benefit along with him.
Yes.
And the ability to do that in any kind of situation, let's give credit to, like you said, Amazon. Jeff Bezos, there was a similar desire on his part to be customer-centric. How do you find something where the customer is really the key? Because when that happens, everything wins. Everybody wins.
Yes.
You can't have anything go down. So Cy Lewis, without an education, and I emphasize that a couple of times because too often people say, well, you need this college education or an MBA or a PhD. Yeah, well, sure, those things help.
Yes.
A brain and a heart that are oriented towards, like you say, spreading love, healing the planet, creating a pathway to success for every group along the way. That's really what's going to make the difference. So I don't just love the story of the Bronze Baby Shoe Company.
Yeah.
I love what it stands for. And what it stands for is heartfelt, unlimited giving, where everybody wins.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just, as I said, if you're watching this, you're seeing Steve beam. Because it wasn't that he was just a franchise. He was the kid. He was Cy's son who's making the phone calls and talking to people. And that helped you, by the way. I'm making this statement. We only have another minute or so.
Yeah.
That helped you, the ability to pick up a phone. And for you, even though it's a warm lead, you don't know anybody. You're still calling somebody. That's not easy at 14 years old.
No. And it was a good training. It was good training for me to learn how to, to speak to people and to sell. Selling's good. By the way, my father also, he, you don't just get knowledge from nothing. He said he went to libraries. Remember libraries, everybody? And he would read books and he would teach himself things, just like you could go on the internet and teach yourself anything. The whole world is there. So principles are always the same. They're timeless. And he gave me the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill when I was a young boy. And he wrote himself a letter about how much money he was going to have and what he was going to do. And he did it, and with win-wins. And that's what's so impressive. I know, there's a lot of people who win losers, and that doesn't impress me. I don't want to see their boats. I don't want to see their houses if everybody else had to lose and stuff. So I'm a big believer in, and that's why I love Barry, because I know he believes all the same principles, and like attracts like, and that's why we work together and we'll continue to work together. And then that's the story, Jerry.
Thank you. Wonderful, Steve. Well, we have 3 quick questions for you as we come to a close on our show today. You ready?
Yeah.
First question. Will you come back again?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Number 2, Steve Lewis. You have only 39 seconds to answer this question.
Right.
What is your most fervent desire?
Oh my, to be of service, to chase. I have a rabbi friend that taught me about chasing mitzvahs, and a mitzvah is creating good things for people and doing good deeds. But his point of creating mitzvahs is you shouldn't just wait for an opportunity. You should chase the opportunities. And if you missed one, you missed. You said, "Oh my God, I could have helped that person change his tire, but I was too late." Oh, you missed. Be quicker.
Yeah. And the third is, can I give you a hug in front of 392,000 people, 820 around the world?
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what HUG stands for: heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, everybody, thank you. And listen up. Here we go.